days.
Looks all right from Wisconsin all the way in Wisconsin, huh? All right. Just a few more minutes, maybe seconds. I think we're getting straight. Boom, boom. All right. I just got to see how it's looking on YouTube. Hopefully it's good. Oof. Computer's at 98% right now, man.
What you say? That's just crazy high. I don't understand why
I don't get that.
It fluctuates like that as far as usage, especially if you don't have anything else up and running.
All right, we restarted YouTube. I have to do this whole thing on Facebook.
Yeah. Whatever we got to do to get this live show cranking,
yeah,
it's good, but it's and I can hear the fan.
Yeah,
the fan is going a little too high.
But see, this hasn't happened before.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot.
What is you go what is your man? You got you can't. How many tabs you have open? How many tabs you have
it's
open?
just like 2.
Okay, yeah, because Google Chrome is. That's probably it. Maybe do you have to have Skype up, or can you just bring that up later?
We can bring it up later. Yeah, we can bring up Skype later when we get to the phone calls.
Google Chrome eats up a lot of memory, and sometimes
it's right there. It tells us whether it's green, yellow, red. Right now it's just fluctuating.
It's fluctuating too much. He said I went to red, went to green to red.
I know. Let me just check this real quick on YouTube. Man, I hate that we're having these problems, man. We solved YouTube. We solved YouTube.
So what's been going on out there? What y'all have your eyes and ears to? What's going on out there? Like I said when we first came on,
all right, looks like it's okay.
We ain't been paying attention to anything other than stuff going on. There's been a number of things been going on.
All right, wait, hold on. All right, what does it look like on YouTube now? Because it looks like it's okay.
Maybe that's just the computer itself and not necessarily the stream.
I think YouTube is good now.
Maybe it's just
I can't have
the computer.
Yeah, I can't have that browser up.
Yeah.
Looks like it's good. Somebody tell me on YouTube, does it look all right? So we can start this thing. I think it's good now. All right. Thank you, Sandra.
All right.
Seems okay. All right. Okay. Live TV again. Live TV again. All right. So, again, this is LTMB Live. This is Tuesday, September the 5th. Man, this year is going by quick as what? But, of course, headlines for today, Tuesday, is that President Trump has signaled his intention to stop DACA, so that Dreamer program, where I believe it's over 800,000, about 800,000 individuals that came here as children. They're undocumented immigrants because their parents brought them here illegally, but it was an Obama era program that was adopted so that they could feel safe from being deported.
Mm-hmm.
So
and it's not like it didn't have any like restrictions to it,
right?
You know what I'm saying? People act like there were like kind of like no provisions that
you couldn't be a criminal. You couldn't be a criminal, and
Why'd you mention criminal first, though?
Why'd you mention criminal first? You know why I did. You know why I did. You know why?
Yeah, I know why.
Because Trump says that these certain people that come across the border, rapists, criminals, the worst individuals, that pretty much won't have any use to our society and our economy.
We got that one out of the way. What's kind of another distortion about these illegal immigrants is their usage of public assistance. That's something else. That's another provision within the Dream Act and DACA, whatever one you look at, where they couldn't, they had to be have a full-time job.
Yeah,
they had to be either, or they had to be in the military or a veteran of the military. They couldn't be on public assistance. There was so many different restrictions within that kind of make the repeal of it, or would make the repeal of it, seem very like there's another reason why they're doing it.
Another reason why they're doing it. Now there have been studies, there have been multiple surveys of some 800,000 individuals in this program, and pretty much every survey has came to the same conclusion, that it's about 90% of these individuals are either in school, they're gainfully employed, they're running their own businesses, they're contributing to society, they're contributing to the economy, they've started families. So they're an integral part of our economy and our way of life. These are people, again, we want to make this point very evident. These are people that came here as kids, so this is the only home that they know. These are Americans. They have been here for pretty much their whole entire lives. So to send them to their home country, even though they've been here most of their lives, to send them to their home country, a country that they do not know, would make absolutely no sense. Like I said, they're contributing to the economy to the tune of I don't know how many millions of dollars when you're talking about GDP. But what sense would it make to remove them from the economy? What sense would that make? Again, like we said, it's not a criminal thing because they're not criminals. I believe there have been about 1,500 people that were in this program that have been removed from the program because they became a criminal. So these people that are in the program are not criminals.
So the problem is not the program.
No, it's not the program.
So the program actually takes care of what Donald Trump says he wants to take care of. Okay.
So why do it?
Jeff Sessions made a comment about DACA, and he says programs like DACA deny jobs to hundreds of thousands of Americans, allowing those illegal, what do you say? Allowing those illegal aliens to take those jobs. That's what he said.
That's the criticism that I hear.
But my problem is that's kind of sketchy, because he says that this is not they're withdrawing they want to withdraw the protections, but I don't think it's going to affect it. They don't think it's going to affect too many people. But what's the point of bringing jobs up if it's not going to affect these people? What's the point of bringing that up? What's the point of mentioning that they take jobs away if this won't negatively affect right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's the point of bringing that up?
Like I said, it's just another way to denigrate these people because they didn't come here legally. But when you're talking about who came here legally and who didn't, if you want to denigrate the parents on coming here across the border legally, whatever means that they use to come here, doesn't it seem kind of heartless to I guess assign that same blame to the children? Children that have been here since they were kids and
for about almost 20 years. Some have been here for 10 or 20 years
and are now, like I said, contributing members of our society.
And isn't that the reason why people always have kind of this negative view of illegal immigrants? Because they don't contribute to society,
and they believe that we are taking care of them. they're going to school free on our dime. That's what I've seen from certain politicians. They say that I just saw somebody on I think he's from Kansas, a politician from Kansas. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was saying that they were gifted an education, a good education in the United States of America through tax dollars, a free education, public education through tax dollars. But I do want to. I don't remember who the host was on MSNBC too, but she corrected him and saying that, hold up, these people are also paying taxes. So they're paying taxes for their own education as well. What are you talking about?
But see, those are two easy things for us to put together.
Right.
Because see, what he was probably talking about is he's probably thinking that these jokers are just sitting on their ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And enjoying the comforts of America.
Right.
Enjoying the comforts of our, education system or any system that everybody else.
But then when you point out the numbers, like I said, that about 90% of these people are in school or are working, have even started businesses, started families.
Have a full-time job.
Full-time jobs. They are just like any other American. Trying to do the right thing, trying to be successful in life, trying to be happy here in America, the only home that they know.
And if they get sent back, I think they have to wait a year before they can apply for residence in the United States again, or for the first time, really. And then it's probably going to take 3 to 10 years from after. You know what I'm saying? From that, and and the thing is, it's like they're going to be penalized for being illegal for the first time, because that's going to be part of the application. Were you ever here illegally?
Right.
Or did you ever get, or did you ever get sent back?
Right. And that's what I've heard, that let them go back and enter the right way, legally. I've heard that, yeah. It seems crazy. Good.
We don't want to get tunnel vision, like sometimes could happen in these situations where we kind of like put all the onus on those who are kind of the spokespeople for this, like Jeff Sessions, Donald Trump.
Right.
But this is kind of, I guess this is Republican rhetoric manifested. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is a Republican kind of, ideology. They could have done, Congress could have done something about immigration reform many, many years ago. Many years ago. How many millions of undocumented immigrants do we have in the country? Something, estimates say 11 million, over 11 million, whatever. What sense does it make? These people are in the workforce, and especially the dreamers are in the workforce. To remove them from America would be catastrophic for the economy. We know that.
Well, wait. Jeff Sessions want Americans to get those jobs. Jeff Sessions want Americans to get those jobs. I'm ready for them jobs. I know plenty of Americans are ready for all them jobs, because the way people make it sound is that these people are taking American jobs. Like
some of them are creating American jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them are creating like they're making it sound like there are just hundreds of thousands of Americans lined up for these jobs.
And they're going to dreamers.
Yeah, and it's like, no, they're the reason why they have these jobs is because Americans are not lined up for them.
Right. This is another thing that Jeff Sessions had to say. He said the Department of Justice cannot defend this overreach. He's talking about the Obama administration. There is nothing compassionate about the failure to enforce immigration laws. Enforcing the laws saves lives, protects communities and taxpayers, and prevents human suffering. Failure to enforce the laws in the past has put our nation at risk of crime, violence, and even terrorism. The compassionate thing is to end the lawlessness and enforce our laws.
Wow. There's so much within there. There's just so much. You don't even have to break it down, because it's not. It's plain as day. It's just. It's a very I don't know. It's a soft way of talking like Trump. He didn't. You know what I'm saying? It's a soft way. It's a soft way of talking like Trump, because he mentioned what? Criminals, lawlessness,
lawlessness, end the lawlessness, the crime, the violence. This is a way of protecting the communities.
But you just went through the statistics.
Yeah, I know, but they don't want to look at the statistics. They just want to say these people did not come here legally, so let's get these mugs out.
But how does this apply to the individuals that are protected under DACA, which they're not a part of any of that stuff?
Yeah, I know. But see, one thing that is very interesting with Sessions' comments, he's talking about failure to enforce the laws puts our nation at risk of crime, violence, even terrorism. We got to end the lawlessness, right?
Wait,
what about that guy that just got pardoned? What about that guy, Sheriff Joe Arpaio? That criminal Arpaio that was racially profiling and detaining Americans because they looked like they could be undocumented immigrants because they had the right shade of color and they had the right features in the face.
And he violated a court order.
He violated a court order.
The law? He violated the law.
Lawlessness.
Yeah.
Because he violated a court order.
No.
Intentionally.
It
wasn't like something he did as a mistake.
And he was doing a job that was taken away from him. He wasn't authorized to do.
Right. But as it seems to me, Trump is okay with that lawlessness. Jeff Sessions is probably okay with that kind of lawlessness.
So right there you just pointed out instantly, like, not necessarily the hypocrisy behind it, but how that's bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
It's just bullshit.
Yeah.
About lawlessness and following the law. That's bullshit.
Arpaio was one of them. So they have no problem with his lawlessness. But these dreamers, no matter that they're functioning members of the society, no matter that they're contributing to the economy positively, started families, this is the only home that they know here. Doesn't matter.
And if they go back, like
you're splitting up families.
You're splitting up families
because they've started families here. Their family would remain here, but though they would have.
And again, who would they know? If he really cares about family, I'm sorry.
No. You can't.
I'm sorry.
You can't put that on him.
He's concerned with the safety of certain families.
Right.
I have to constantly remind myself of that.
Yeah.
So when he talks about safety, he's talking about the safety of certain people. Mm-hmm. He's not talking about the safety of individuals who are protected under DACA.
Oh no. And there have been protests today. We've seen some protests in Denver. Students walked out and were protesting this decision. We saw the same thing in New York, I believe in Minnesota. They're all around the country. The people are disgusted, absolutely disgusted with this decision. In New York, they were standing outside Trump Tower protesting because, like I said, I mean, all of this is, I'll say this. I'll say this, right? Okay. Now, the Trump administration said that they left room for Congress to do something about this. Okay, so I believe it's in about 6 months. They have a 6-month window till March to do something about the Dreamers, about DACA. Now, we're tasking Republicans because the Republicans are the majority in the House and the Senate. We're tasking Republicans for coming up with a way to keep the Dreamers here. The same Republicans that advocate against them. That's one, right? It just seems like Trump's whole agenda is swirling. It's swirling around bigotry. As soon as he gets into office, pretty much just a couple months after he got into office, going to ban Muslims from coming into the country. We're going to ban transgender individuals from joining the military. What else? Oh yeah, I just talked about pardoning the racist Sheriff Joe Arpaio. He remains committed to building this wall that is all wrapped up in bigotry, because we saw how he defined the people that come across the border. And one more thing I'll point out, and we've pointed that out in multiple live streams, the Life After Hate, the funding for Life After Hate that he stopped. It was a few weeks before he took office. Obama approved a grant for this organization, Life After Hate. We've talked about it before. Like I said, it's a group of individuals that came from a past of hate. They were white supremacists. They were neo-Nazis, KKK, whatever. Now this group has come together because they have shed that former life of hate, and they're trying to get other people that are involved in that mentality of hating one another to reform their lives. They're trying to educate them on this process, how to get rid of it, because it's not something that I mean, I can explain it away. I mean, like, how do I say hating is stupid? I mean, like, I can't say it more intellectually than that. But anyway, once Trump got into office, he removed that grant. It was about a $400,000 grant to help this organization communicate with people that are living a life of hate and get them out of that life. And they would know better than anybody else, right? Mm-hmm. But he cut it. He cut the funding.
And then connected to that, what was his stance on domestic terrorism? What was his stance on focusing on domestic terrorism? And his stance on that is directly connected to those that commit the most domestic terrorism.
Right.
So what are we supposed to think of all these decisions he's been making?
They're swirling around bigotry. You know, and some people won't readily admit that. You know, some people thinking that he's just fulfilling campaign promises. Oh, he's going to be our law and order president. I don't know. Like, how do you not get the feeling that his whole mission as president is to be a bigot? Look at this, like you said, look at the decisions he's made.
Well, it's not just the decisions he's made. If you look at, like, the rationale behind them, they don't actually follow facts. If you look at the decisions he's made, they don't follow facts. No. So if they don't follow facts and they don't make sense, then there's a reason why he's moving forward. You see what I'm saying? There's got to be a reason why he's moving forward. And he's not a zombie. He's not just going through this not thinking about any of this stuff. Oh. He is going through this making measured decisions. So my thing is, if we are addressing issues and we are kind of breaking them down in all of their pieces and explaining how what he claims is not true, you kind of have to consider what is kind of the supply side of his decisions, and the supply side of his decisions is his bigotry. That's they're being supplied by his bigotry, and they're being supported by other bigots like Jeff Sessions.
Yeah, but there's a chance that he's just being a proxy for the deep state, right?
No, you killed. No, I'm down.
He's just a proxy for the deep state. This isn't actually Trump, because we've heard that too. That the deep state that they're so powerful that they're controlling this guy. Wait.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
The deep state can't get Hillary up in there. Can't get their person, whatever.
No,
they can't get Hillary up in there.
They're too weak to get Hillary in the White House.
But so powerful now that they can control
Donald Trump.
Right. And my thing is, why? Like, again, no one's like denying, you know, the deep state apparatus.
Right. No, we've talked about money in politics and how it affects our politicians. I mean, we've talked about that forever. Everybody knows that. Yeah,
everybody. I mean, everybody knows about COINTELPRO. Everybody, not everybody, but most people who bring that up, you know about the infiltration of activist groups, thwarted revolutions across the globe, yada yada yada. But why pick Trump to give a pass to when it comes to being influenced by this? I mean, many of you know that pretty much all of our politicians have surveillance on them. They're listened to, they're watched. So my thing is, how come they don't get a pass? How come they don't get a pass? Isn't don't they have strings attached to them that connect to the deep state apparatus? How come we don't give them a pass? How come I don't say, well, the deep state has, their fingers in this particular person? Well, don't they all?
But why a guy like Trump though? It's like it would make sense. It would make sense if Trump was this one guy that we saw on the campaign trail, and then he turned in, he just morphed into another guy where it's like, oh my god, hold on, that's kind of irregular. But he's been the same consistent dude the whole way from 2015 when he started running for president until right now. He said the same things. He's the same bigot. There's nothing changed. So if the deep state has a mission, it seems to be that is Donald Trump's mission as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just seems like
I'm not giving him a pass.
What? Yeah, I'm not giving him a pass because what is his? I would call it, even if he's not a career politician, what is his political personality? What is Donald Trump's
bigot? That's political personality.
Just as far as his because what do people always point to in regard to the deep state apparatus is essentially capitalism. The exploitation of people. That's kind of what it boils down to. Power, exploiting people, keeping this capitalist system alive. Why would Donald Trump be your, let's say, counter poster boy for that? You see what I'm saying? Why would Donald Trump be the counter poster boy to that system? He is somebody who benefits from that system and who brags about it.
Like I said, he's not changed. He's not changed one iota.
I personally don't. I personally don't get it. I think people are so. I think
they're
people
so used to blaming the mystery of the powers that
actually, I think that's easier. I know it. I know people may get bent out of shape, but honestly, that's easier.
It is.
It's actually,
you don't have a face. You don't have a name.
And when
to
I say
assign that blame.
And when I say easier, I don't mean it doesn't take any effort. What I mean is sometimes it becomes very intoxicating and very fascinating to dive deep into that rabbit hole.
Oh, it's very provocative.
It's very provocative.
Yeah.
And no one says that rabbit hole isn't there.
Yeah,
but
we're not saying it doesn't
once you
exist.
dive down deep in that rabbit hole, you're going to get lost.
Right.
You're going to get lost.
And these same people that are being excused are going to be there.
Sometimes
they're going to be in that rabbit hole.
Sometimes it's actually easier mentally to go into the rabbit hole because it is fascinating. It is juicy. It's dramatic.
Right.
Once you find out where it leads, but how does that connect to any kind of activism you do on a daily basis? That's all I'm saying. How does that connect to actual what you can do on a daily basis in today's world? That's my question. And you can't.
No.
All you can do is inform people and make sure they watch out for certain things, but actually trying to do something to affect it, I'm not seeing the likelihood of that. But like you said, back to Trump, how is he in any way not connected to it? What about Trump gives people the impression that he's not with it, that he's against it, like he's being kind of forced to do it? What I'm trying to figure out
there's no logic. It's just,
where does it come from?
Like you said, it's more provocative and it's easier to blame figureless people. It's just there's these mysterious people that are controlling things behind the scenes, and we know that. But again, we can't say that the faces that we do see are not involved willingly. It's not like they're being controlled, like their families are being held hostage or something like that. No, they've had the same rhetoric since they've started talking. Donald Trump is that guy. He is to blame. This decision, this DACA decision to resort to ending it, that's on him. That's on Jeff Sessions. That's on this administration. And the Department of Homeland Security, now they have said that their priority is to go after criminals. So if you're a criminal and you're here illegally, that's going to be the priority. They're going to go after these individuals. But we have to take into account that everybody under this program has given the government all their information. Everything that's on them, the government knows. They know where they are. They know where they work. They know who's their family. So you really think you really think that the government's not going to go after them when their permits do?
And not only that, they're already going after people that aren't criminals.
Right.
So what,
we saw that under the Obama administration, and in states where marijuana was legal, it wasn't legal federally, but they were going, they were going after people in these states where they were legal because they were selling marijuana. The government does this. They do this.
So what you're saying is,
doesn't matter whose government it is either.
All right. See, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
See, now we're getting somewhere. Because I love it. I actually love it when, you know, something, I guess, about Trump is called out. And the first thing people do is they want to go back and mention how it was either worse or the same under Obama or Bush or Clinton. And I'm like, thank you for making our point for us.
Right.
Thank you for making our point.
Right. You're not doing you're not doing any favors defending Trump like that. No favors whatsoever, because we can criticize any administration.
Because that is a rebuttal coming from a person that who themselves hasn't admitted that they still have this kind of affinity for I guess binary political thinking. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you bring that up, like what value is that? What, like, that's not a valuable rebuttal.
It's the methodology of somebody that really doesn't have much to fight with. They don't really have the weapons that is necessary to defeat a battle that you might put forth, bringing legitimate concerns of Donald Trump's presidency, his decisions, or whatever. So when he even does the same, he even employs the same strategy when he was trying to defend his decision to pardon Sheriff Joe Arpaio. What did he go to? Barack Obama pardoned some really disgusting people, individuals. Yeah, like, so you know, I'm
like, wait. If you're trying to justify something you did, and you're trying to show how like,
just decision
how a just decision it was, right. You don't mention bad things somebody else did. You mention good things. You say, right. Hey, this is justified because this was good. Right. This over here was good, and I believed it was good. So see, even though that's a fallacy in itself, but you don't bring up other bad things to show how your bad thing is okay.
But all he did was to justify that decision. That rang positive was saying that Sheriff Joe Arpaio made us safe. He followed the law. He was, I mean, like he protected the people of Arizona. And no, all of that is wrong. All of that is wrong. So then when he couldn't say any more about that, he has to go to, well, my decision wasn't as bad as these decisions from Barack Obama. So, you know, what's the problem here?
So again,
helping my buddy out.
Again, thank you, Trump, for making our point for us.
Right.
Because all you're saying is, I'm just like Obama then. That's what you're saying.
And
that's what Trump is saying.
He can't stand Obama, right?
Again, I'm just like Obama.
But he couldn't stand Obama.
So if you're saying, if he's saying I'm just like Obama, then why, if you are a supporter of him, why don't you say the same thing too? And stop using Obama or Hillary Clinton or George Bush or anybody else as some sort of like, I guess, object of deflection. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Look, this decision, again, to end DACA, to potentially put about 800,000 people, for the most part, who are doing the right thing, for the overwhelmingly vast majority of them who are in school, who are working, who have started businesses and families, who are working here and trying to help America prosper. These are Americans. This is the only home they know. To put them in jeopardy of being deported to a place that they do not know, is surrounding in bigotry. It's drowning in bigotry. And I'm sorry, there's not one argument that can make the case that it's not about bigotry. There's not one argument that could. Especially when you go down the path of Donald Trump's short presidency and all the bigot moves. All the bigot moves,
the like it's like a dance step.
Yes.
But I mean, it's like, it's not just, you know, it goes farther back than that. It goes back to when he was running, before he was running.
Right.
Like his kind of the whole Central Park 5 thing, when he posted that fake statistic from a white supremacist site. Now, if I posted something, if I reposted something on my Twitter account from, let's say,
what if we did it on our site?
This not that in particular, but what if I retweeted something or through my personal Facebook, Twitter account, or the LTMB Facebook, Twitter, whatever else social media account? What if I tweeted something about, like, I don't know, some sort of support or justification for, like, pedophilia? I retweeted something from some, or something like something that's like morally depraved.
Me thinks you would be criticized.
Exactly, and not only would I be criticized,
harshly,
people would think that I kind of sympathize with whatever I shared.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out, how do you explain, how can you explain that? Like, and people make it as if these things are coming out of nowhere. Like, you're just inventing these things. I'm like, no, we're not.
And see, concerning that image that you were talking about, that incorrectly spread stats of black people killing white people, you have to have a certain type of mentality to even believe something like that,
even if it's fake,
because the stats were so overwhelmingly false. You'd have to have a certain mentality to say, oh yeah, see, this just reinforces the thoughts that are in my head. I'm gonna go ahead and retweet this image right here. It's not that he made a mistake and just got something wrong. No, this goes to show you his mentality and what's in his inner being, and how his bigotry kind of exposes itself.
No, but we shouldn't talk about it, because if by talking about it, we're the ones, you know, creating this kind of identity politics narrative. Is us responding to bigotry and pointing out how these kind of policies are I guess put forth based on someone else's view on identity, but us rebutting that view. That's the true identity politics.
Race baiting.
That's the true identity politics.
Yeah.
Us kind of, you know, reflecting on someone else's view of identity, and them putting that view into policy and reflecting that view into policy. But no, we should shut up, because we don't.
Somebody on YouTube says, I'm disgusted by this action. It's absolutely a bigot action.
Yes, and that's that's how you attack it.
Exactly.
What's the supply side of a policy? Whether he's, again, let's just say,
it's not making America stronger. It's not making America more prosperous. It's not doing anything. It's not doing anything positive for our economy. It's not doing anything positive for these families. It's not anything positive. It's doing great things for bigotry. It's doing great things to uplift bigotry.
Most likely it's sending people back into an unstable situation.
Yeah. Look, man, people knew who he was, you know. Not to say, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, I think I heard someone say that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, they're peers, and just how awful they are. I'm not gonna put one above the other. They're both awful in different ways, in very different ways. But for the people that voted for this guy, that don't believe in the racism and the bigotry, boy, what were you expecting? Right?
And like, and people, again, Do you expect good policy to come from a mind like that? And again,
they thought that, you know, I guess I don't think I don't even know if I can say that I expected this much bigotry in 7 months. Did you? I don't know that I could say I expected this much in 7 months. I don't know.
I was wide open. I didn't really expect. I wasn't expecting anything. Actually, I was just on. I was on a wait. I was on a wait and see.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised. I was actually on a wait and see. And the reason why I was on a wait and see, especially after the first year, is because the first year, all he's trying to do is kind of lay the groundwork for the things he's going to do in the future.
Right.
And he really hasn't had a chance to, like, I guess, do anything to affect market behavior. He hasn't really.
Right.
And that's kind of coming up this month.
Right.
With the debt ceiling and funding the government. So I did kind of just want to wait to see, you know, anything between that point. It's not that I was going to critique it, but, you know, I wanted to wait until then to really see what his priorities are. But I guess piggybacking off of you, I didn't expect him to not necessarily be such a bigot, but make those priorities so clear, having, I guess, bigotry as the supply side to those decisions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't think it was going to be that strong. And I think some people are in denial because they thought that, oh, he's just saying all this stuff to get elected.
Yeah, that's where I was going. That the people that did not believe in the racism and the bigotry, they still believed that Donald Trump was going to get things done, but and the bigotry really wasn't going to surface so much. They believed in that he was going to bring jobs. They believed that the 99% was going to be spoken for. But again, like you said, for somebody that has that type of mentality, what did you expect?
You
can't actually expect good policy.
And I think we like kind of
because it's going to be good policy for a certain segment of society.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like I don't know if when we kind of dealt with that before, but how can you expect anyone, not just Trump, because this is not about Trump. Trump is a kind of my bad. Trump is a Frankenstein. Trump is nothing more than a Frankenstein, so it's not even about Trump per se. He's kind of a very gross manifestation of an attitude. So, like, what?
Somebody's saying calling him a bigot just gives away your biased opinions.
No, calling him a bigot just gives away our I guess our ability to reason through decisions he's made and things he's said.
At some point, you have to recognize.
At some point, some point we have to offer descriptions to things that we see. If you have a problem with the description, we're fine. Please feel free to offer us some sort of rebuttal that kind of debunks that description. We're fine with it, but from what we see, it's like saying like he's only a bigot because we're saying he's a bigot.
Nah, there's substantive reasons, and he's given us many reasons for this.
But like again, like if you are, let's just not even make this about Trump. If you are, I guess, trying to form a society that you say is equitable, and you believe this person is trying to advocate for a society that, I guess, promotes equity. I'm sorry, but that's not going to come from a mind that's not going to come from a bigoted mind, because that mindset promotes a society that is not equitable. So how can we trust anyone, not just Trump? Because again, even though we're talking about Trump, this is not about Trump. This is spread
far and wide.
It's spread far and wide.
Yeah.
So how can we expect these politicians who do have a negative idea about certain segments of the population? So right off the bat, they're working from a mindset that doesn't see people equally. So how on earth do you think these people, no matter how you look, will benefit you, and make sure that, or you can be sure that they, I guess, see an equitable society for you, even you, no matter if you look like them, is what I'm saying.
People are going to be left out.
People are going to be left out, even people who look like them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if you cannot create a mindset that is counter to your own. You cannot create a reality that's counter to your own mindset.
Yeah.
And they have a mindset that does not promote equity amongst certain people. And I guarantee you, that person's not going to promote equity amongst people who even look like them. I just don't get it.
All right, let's move on, though. We've talked about this for a while, and this is where we're going to have to say goodbye to Facebook.
Yeah.
Now, we have the link, the YouTube link, to join us over on YouTube for our live show. You can get the rest of it. We're going to be talking about a number of things. We talked about DACA for a long time. But if you would, just click that button, join us on YouTube, and you can catch the rest of the show, all right? So, I keep saying peace, but it's not peace.
It's not peace.
Just everybody just come over, just click the button. It's easy, all right? All right. All right, YouTube. All right, we're back. All right, so we're going to get into well, I don't know if it's the second major story. It is a major story that happened over the weekend, and that's North Korea continuing to test their nuclear power. So it was on Sunday. Well, for us, on the East Coast at least, it was late or early Sunday morning, where news reports were saying that there was reports of an earthquake in North Korea. And then pretty much immediately following that, reports were out there saying that it was a man-made earthquake. So they were, I guess they were believing that North Korea was indeed testing another nuclear strike. And so they did. This one measured 6.3 tremors. Magnitude of 6.3 tremors. So that's up from the last strike that they did, which I believe was 5.3. And so that's it's a lot bigger. So they have made a lot of they've made up a lot of ground. I mean, they've made some advancements in their nuclear technology. So this act by them, of course, it's viewed by America and other parts of the world as I guess antagonistic. Donald Trump, of course, met with some advisors. It was the talk of the Sunday morning shows, and like I said, the general feeling is that people want North Korea to disarm. They don't want North Korea having these nuclear weapons, but there's no feeling that North Korea is going to give up these their nuclear capability. And in testing it yet again for the 6th time, they've shown that. So immediately after that, on Monday, South Korea had a response, and they started doing some drills. They were doing some live fire exercises with some F-15 fighter jets, some surface-to-surface ballistic missiles, and this was all simulating an attack on North Korea's nuclear test site. So again, this is stirring things up. It's already a tense situation. But what do you feel about this, man? What do you feel? Because like I said, the general feeling is that this guy Kim Jong-un is a madman.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying I don't care that he's a madman and he's kind of irrational. Yeah, he's kind of putting people on edge. I understand, but. Sometimes I don't necessarily like to bring history into everything, but I do think it's important that we bring history into it. You know what I'm saying? And look at the kind of country or the kind of attitude or mindset that gets created when a country is occupied for, over 30 years. And they were occupied by Japan for over 30 years. So, after being pretty much oppressed in that time, you essentially, when you're victimized or abused, the first thing you do is you want to isolate yourself. And, the Soviet Union and the United States, although they came in to help, They partition a piece of land into two, and we put a leader in one side, and the Soviet Union put another leader on another side. And then the Soviet Union advised North Korea to invade South Korea. That was supposed to be a unifying strategy. Mm-hmm. And it's like we're just kind of, I guess, dealing with the consequences of meddling in other people's stuff.
And what you're talking about too, and you know, when they had this Korean War, we got to realize that this Korean War is still going on. There was no
resolution. There was no treaty
at all. So the conflict is still there. It's just like a Cold War situation. And what really irks me is that, I guess what concerns me is that there's nuclear technology anywhere. You know, if it's the United States, if it's Russia, if it's China, if it's North Korea. Of course, I don't believe in nuclear technology, because if one of those nuclear weapons gets launched anywhere, thousands and thousands and thousands, maybe, who knows, maybe millions of people could die. So there's no way that I believe in that type of weaponry. But I have to say this, okay? Anybody that lives here, you know, anybody that has some sense of nationalism to them, they want to see their country prosper. They want good for the people here. They want good education. They want good paying jobs. They want safety. They want you know, medical insurance for everybody. That's how I feel. But I have to recognize that North Korea is a sovereign nation as well. And no matter who's right or wrong here, North Korea, South Korea, the United States, no matter who's wrong here, they are a sovereign nation, and they do have the right to protect their own people, right? I mean, like, I just want to throw that out there, right? They do have the right to protect their own people.
Because honestly, at the end of the day, I don't even think it's about nuclear weapons. That's what we're talking about, and kind of that's what's on the surface. I honestly just think it's about capitalism. It's about I don't know, this kind of cage match between communism and capitalism. And just listening to some of the talks in regard to North Korea that have, you know, been going on, everything seems to be about, you know, I guess North Korea adopting more kind of a capitalistic economic system along with disarming.
And they're resistant.
And see, that's what I'm saying. That's why at the end of the day, I think the whole nuclear thing is kind of like a front story for like us trying to force capitalism onto them. We can talk about how the people are oppressed and how the people don't have a voice, which is true. We can talk about how Kim Jong-il is rogue, which is true. But this, maybe it's just me. To me, it's about capitalism. But see, because all the discussions seem to always involve, you know, North Carolina opening itself up.
Korea.
North Carolina. That's too local, dog. Yeah. It seems it's around North Korea opening itself up to more capitalist economic system. That's what most of like the provisions behind their disarmament surround. So why should that come with anything having to do with our economic model? Why should that be some sort of like, why should that be the carrot? Why should that be the carrot? That's what I think it's about.
But see, this is where I was going with it. Okay, so like I said, they're another sovereign nation. Okay, there is conflict that they have with South Korea. There's conflict that they have with the United States of America. Now, both countries have nuclear technology. You can't do that. You gotta use that. So both countries have nuclear technology. To prevent the United States from attacking North Korea, what would North Korea need? They would probably need nuclear technology. So that North Korea does have this nuclear technology, the U.S. is kind of at a stalemate here, because they don't want to go in and provoke them physically into setting off their own nuclear weapons, because that would be a really bad look. It might catapult the world into World War III. So like I said, where's the U.S. strategy here? You know, they can be mad all they want that North Korea is testing these weapons. And like I said, I'm kind of mad as well. I'm mad that North Korea is testing these nuclear weapons. I'm mad that the United States has nuclear weapons. Yeah, it's a tense situation. But again, when you recognize that the United States does not have a no first use policy, that they reserve the right to use nuclear weapons no matter the case, if an enemy of theirs, if an enemy of America strikes America or an ally with nuclear weapons or without, the United States reserves the right to use those nuclear weapons. So in a case like that, if you are the adversary, if you're the enemy, then how do you protect yourself? It just stands to reason that you're going to try.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like again, that's why I don't think people are not making it about the issue it should be about. It is about, on the surface, North Korea having, you know, nuclear weapons. Yeah. But really,
when you get down into the dirty details,
they really don't care about North Carolina having.
You keep saying North Carolina though.
Maybe there's something drawing me. Maybe I'm supposed to bet on North Carolina this weekend.
I'm not aware of any like fights between North and South Carolina.
Like, cause
I'm not aware.
What is that? Is that the Tar Heel state?
Yeah, man.
Tar Heel don't look nothing. That Tar Heel mascot looks nothing like Kim Jong.
No.
But anyway, like, I just think that, like, whatever they talking about in the media is not what it's about.
Right.
That's what I think. I think whatever they're talking about in the media is not what it's about. You really think that they care about those people in North Korea? Answer that question. You really think they care about those people in North Korea?
No.
North Carolina? That's playing. You really think they care about the fact that I guess Japan is startled by the weapons? Do you really, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Do you really think they're concerned with that? What they're really concerned with is North Carolina. Damn,
I don't know what's going on. I don't know
what's going on. They're really concerned with North Korea.
Yeah.
In their economic model. I'm sorry that.
And see, again, the vision and the I guess what's presented to us in the media is that Un is a madman. He's crazy. He's unhinged, irresponsible. He's evil. Whatever the case. And let's say all of these are true, right? I haven't yet seen anybody say that the man is suicidal. I have not heard not one person say that the man is suicidal. So I think about if North Korea did launch a preemptive attack on the United States, unprovoked. They just launched an attack, right? They're trying to enhance this technology. They're going to launch a strike at the United States of America. Now, that would mean that the United States is going to see this alert, right? And they're going to, okay, all right, we're sending one over here. We're sending one over to North Korea as well, right? Maybe not even one. They're going to destroy the country. They're going to obliterate the whole country. It will be a wasteland. The only, I think the only wisdom or the only thing that makes sense is if North Korea supposes that China is going to get involved. If China gets involved, then yeah, you may have World War III. If China gets involved,
so what are you saying? Are you saying that like whose side do you think China will take? I don't think. See, I don't know if like a lot of things have changed since the Cold War.
They're kind of irritated with North Korea.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good. All right, we're on the same. See, I was like, hold up, like because like China has kind of they've evolved since the Cold War. Like before, it was kind of China being on the side of North Korea.
But see, we don't know that they won't be on the side of North Korea, though. We don't know that. They could be.
Well, again, I don't think so because like I still think it's about capitalism.
But think about
China's
the money.
That's what China's model is.
But think about the money though. The money, North Korea's money is going through China. That ties them together.
And you know, dang.
Like I think I saw that about 90% of their over 90% of their trade of their economy runs through China.
Well, I thought that China agreed with the sanctions.
I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
I thought they agreed with the sanctions, but I don't know.
But see, the whole point I'm bringing up is, though, I can't see the wisdom behind North Korea launching an attack. If they could get China to get on their side, okay, it kind of makes sense. But then, like I said, before China even got there,
you know what?
North Korea would be done. It'd be over. It'd be a wasteland. So they would. This is like a James Bond terror plot.
You know what? I wouldn't.
This is TV.
Hey, you know what? Let's not act like. I guess it's easy to think that Kim Jong-un is like kind of doing this without being, how can I say, influenced by anyone else, because I think it was his. Wasn't it his, like, I don't know, I'm rusty on, I think it was like his great or his great grandfather that asked or kind of requested Stalin's help in invading South Korea. I could be wrong. So it's not like his family has a history of doing things unilaterally. So I wouldn't put it past, like you said, if China has economic interest in North Korea, who knows who's kind of gassing him up? Who knows who's kind of gassing Un up right now? Because I don't think it can't just be what, man. What?
No. Somebody made a joke, man. Liz is talking about. Actually, I think Mike is right. This is a distraction intended to keep people in North Carolina from demanding health care. Got you. They got you. That was from Liz, one of our patrons. That was funny.
Yo. That's funny. But you see what I'm saying? Like, who would a war benefit?
Yeah.
Like, and guess what? Like, here's the thing. It does matter who's in office right now. Sometimes it doesn't matter, and sometimes it does matter, because the reason why it doesn't matter, I guess, is because we still have the same apparatus that's at work, whether it be behind the scenes or right in front of our face. We still have the same apparatus.
Yeah.
But what hasn't changed is the need to frame something in the media. Okay, that's what hasn't changed. The need for that apparatus to kind of create optics to justify something. That's never going to go away. And we have a particular person that's in office right now whose rhetoric and whose, I guess, spontaneous, because his almost like, I would call like his mind like a spontaneous combustion chamber. Like, you never know like what he's gonna say.
You've heard for months that he doesn't have the temperament for this job.
And honestly, it's like, if you look past, even if you look past kind of his I guess the way he flamboyantly I guess uses definitions for everyone and everything, and it's just, but think about that being used in regard to foreign policy. The apparatus of our shadow government and the apparatus of the government we see, this is a perfect opportunity. This is actually a perfect opportunity to utilize somebody like Trump, because he has a way of inflaming things. So if anything, Trump is like the ultimate, like, I guess, proxy. He's the ultimate person that you can like use optically to try to like create and destabilize these conversations. You see what I'm saying? Because like I just think that I don't know what Un would do if Hillary was in office, or let's say Obama was still in office. We don't know. But
I think they would still. Well,
but you have to consider
escalating.
That's what I'm saying. You have to consider that the way things are right now in America, and how optically that looks to other countries and their leaders.
Right.
And if you look at the way Trump has presented himself to other leaders, what does that say? Now, to more like fair-minded and more rational-minded leaders, you know, it's they're not going to use it as an opportunity to, I guess, tempt America or boastfully try to, you know, I guess, get America into something. But you have leaders like Un who might do that because the instability right now politically we're in. Why wouldn't somebody use this opportunity to possibly get America into something? There's something else at work.
So let's hear what Nikki Haley had to say about this. Nikki Haley, of course, is the ambassador to the UN, and she had some comments after it was discovered that North Korea was once again testing their nuclear weaponry.
Despite our efforts over the past 24 years, the North Korean nuclear program is more advanced and more dangerous than ever. They now fire missiles over Japanese airspace. They now have ICBM capabilities. They now claim to have tested a hydrogen bomb. And just this morning, there are reports that the regime is preparing for yet another ICBM launch. To the members of the Security Council, I must say, enough is enough. We have taken an incremental approach, and despite the best of intentions, it has not worked. Being a nuclear power is not about using those terrible weapons to threaten others. Nuclear powers understand their responsibilities. Kim Jong-un shows no such understanding. His abusive use of missiles and his nuclear threats show that he is begging for war. War is never something the United States wants. We don't want it now. But our country's patience is not unlimited. We will defend our allies and our territory. The idea that some have suggested a so-called freeze for freeze is insulting. When a rogue regime has a nuclear weapon and an ICBM pointed at you, you do not take steps to lower your guard. No one would do that. We certainly won't.
That's some tough talk from Ambassador Nikki Haley. Some tough talk. Some tough talk. Enough is enough.
Tough? Oh, okay,
I just
yeah,
want to know.
yeah.
I mean, okay, she said pretty much we've had enough. Basically, we're done with this. We have no more patience for Kim Jong-un and his testing of nuclear weaponry. The technology is getting far more advanced. He's planning another strike. Enough is enough. Like, what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Like, what do you think you can do? Do you think you can attack North Korea? Because I think that's that's not on the table. I don't think that's on the table to attack North Korea because, like I said, you're gonna start nuclear war. You're gonna be blamed for that. You are going to be blamed for that. Even if you can paint North Korea as the bad guy and we got to go in there and do something, you're going to be blamed for the thousands upon thousands of deaths here in the homeland here too.
But Will, war is never something the U.S. wants. Didn't you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Didn't you hear?
War is something that the U.S.
Didn't you hear
wants.
I guess the declarations of kind of peace rhetoric?
Yeah, I heard that.
It's not, we don't want war, the most warring country on the planet, according to Martin Luther King, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the surrogate father of all black people. So I have to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? And he said, what did she say? Something about like, not about using the weapon.
It's pretty much a show of strength. It's a show of strength.
But she said it's not about using the weapon. So again, was she making a point for us, or I wouldn't say us? Was she making it a point for Un? To me, that's making a point. She said a show of strength. Yeah. Isn't that what he's doing? Definitely. How else do you show strength other
than you better not come up in here? You better not come up.
Basically what Un is doing, he is like
he just flashes.
No, he just flashes peace. No, I'm sorry, no, he went more than that. Yeah. He's like basically what do you call it? The little where you throw the disc up.
Yeah.
The skeet shooting.
He put it on the display, man.
Yes, that's basically he's basically on his front lawn, like skeet shooting.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. Like up in the air, like right in front of his neighbor. But he's like, yo. Like, but
come with it if you want.
Come with it if you want. Not just to my neighbors, but to anyone in any other neighborhood. If y'all come to this house, y'all can get it. That's what he's doing. But
she said he's quote begging for war. Begging for war. I mean, like all of this kind of talk is inflammatory. You know,
wait a second.
If he's begging for war, is he doing something that begs for war? Or is he just saying, "Yo, you better not come in here because I'm showing you what I got. I'm showing you what I got over here."
So are you saying that Donald Trump's his ambassador?
Yeah,
that's his ambassador.
Yeah.
That's an ambassador. That he strongly endorsed.
Yeah.
He strongly endorsed this ambassador. This was his choice.
Okay, yeah.
Now, to you, did Nikki Haley's talk sound like talk of a warmonger? To you? To you, yes or no? Did that sound like warmonger talk?
Yeah, it kind of had those kind of...
All right.
It had those overtones.
All right. So...
Similar to Trump, fire and fury.
But what again? But even what was like, despite the fire and fury talk, what does that say about Trump? Oh, my bad. This must be my bad. This must be another situation where he is being puppeted. He's being puppeted.
Yeah. He's a marionette.
He's by the deep state apparatus. He has no choice.
Right.
Because Nikki Haley's only talking like that because she has no choice either. She is not following any kind of line that Trump would have.
You know what's interesting, man, that I think of when I hear her speak too about how I guess she was selling the message that having nuclear weapons, there's some responsibility that comes with it, and it's not something that you go into and you want war. The U.S. does not want war, and we're tired of North Korea's actions and blah 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 blah. They gotta do. She wants them disarmed. She thinks there's reckless, whatever, because of their actions of testing their own nuclear weapons. I just wonder, can another country, like let's say Iraq, go to the UN and be like, man, the U.S. is irresponsible. They waged war on our country. They blew the whole damn thing up. They killed about 1 million people. I think they should disarm.
The greatest purveyor of violence on the planet Earth. If anybody is, guilty of, if anybody is guilty of provoking anything, is, us. Or I wouldn't say us, but the country being used as a platform or a proxy to do these things. I'll just state that. Like I said, when you put it that way, when you turn it back, on a 180 like that, then I guess the position and the suggestions that kind of we offer when it comes to these rogue nations seems so ridiculous.
Yes.
When you put it like that,
yes, it does. And her whole commentary, we don't want war. We don't want this. Well, that one instance of Iraq, one instance where
that was only one instance.
That was only one instance, and of course,
Nicaragua, Grenada.
But I'm just talking about Iraq. The UN said, "Don't go in, don't go in." Reports were like, "Man, we can't find no weapons of mass destruction. We don't see anything. We don't see anything." But here comes the order now.
And this is why. And this is why North Korea doesn't want to comply. And I actually heard that. I even read that Iran is talking about not complying either because they don't trust us. And
now if Iraq could use some nuclear weapons against us, do you think George W. Bush would have went in that strong?
Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no. And you know what else is kind of like, I think she hinted at, is she kind of like threw shade at appeasement. because I think South Korea
freeze for a freeze.
Yeah, I think like, South Korea's I guess you know, that's what I guess their strategy is defined as appeasement. But I'm like thinking, like, we ain't next to North Korea.
Right. It's South Korea that's gonna feel the full
exactly. I was like, it's easy
war.
for us to talk all that crap. See, it's easy for us to talk all that crap because we know North Korea ain't coming after us.
No,
but if you are next to them, you're going to be like, you're going to be a little more hesitant in your words and how you deal with them. Like you're like this close to something really sharp. If you're this close to something really sharp, you're going to have a very measured response in how you approach it. But if you way over there, you could like, you can move around. You can talk all you feeling free. You can be all froggy all you want.
Right.
And especially if you know you have the upper hand.
Yeah. And
so it's selfish.
Nobody's thinking North Korea is going to launch an attack at the United States of America.
It's selfish. It's actually just pretty selfish, in my opinion. All
right, let's move on. All right, so I saw something that is being reported, but not on a large scale, and that's the fires that are going on the West Coast. We know about the fires that's going on in California, but they're fires that are in Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, the Dakotas, and in Montana alone, I believe just about 500,000 acres of land have been destroyed by fires. I mean, it's a horrible scene out there. The smoke is so heavy in Montana that planes can't fly over to check the size or the status of some of these fires. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, and more fires are just on the way because we're talking about dry conditions. The rain isn't doing anything to help the situation out at all, and we're in the summer months. So of course it's very, very hot. Wind is pushing the fires further out too. I mean, this is a drastic situation. It's getting worse. It's getting worse.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling where this is going.
And this is in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, right?
Where
we saw streets become rivers. 30 to 50 feet of rainfall. It's just getting worse. Things are getting worse. And another thing, Hurricane Irma's on the way, and that's planning. Well, I don't know. I don't know that it's been proven, or I guess that they're saying that it definitely is going to hit Florida, like the coast of Florida, especially the southernmost tip of Florida. They're thinking that it could. This is a Category 5 hurricane now. This is one of the most powerful storms in the Atlantic Ocean ever.
Dang, you know what I didn't even what is like the proximity for Category 5 storms to hit like in succession? Like, what's like the proximity? What time? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when's the last time 2 Category 5s would hit like this soon?
I don't know. Yeah, well, Harvey was a 4. Harvey was a 4. It got up to 4, and then it lost some steam. But this one coming is now registered as a 5. So man, things are getting worse, and there already been evacuation orders issued in Florida. So they're thinking by this weekend it could hit the coast of Florida, and it be cataclysmic. Well, I don't know if I mean, that might be an accurate word to say cataclysmic. I mean, it could be very, very bad, even worse than what we saw with Hurricane Harvey. So with all of this stuff going on, right? And again, I believe in Montana, estimates are showing that about $71 million of damage has taken place so far with all these fires. Okay, so with all these things going on, okay, I'm just wondering, climate change, real or not? Real or not? Huh?
I would say, how about this? Like, maybe a bit of sarcasm is necessary to address this whole climate change issue.
Maybe.
And it's like it's like the first thing that comes to mind when people like have an issue with, like, I guess, going forth with more environmentally sound policy, and not just like, I guess, when you're talking about relief efforts afterwards, but how our economy and how our capitalist society looks at at climate as an externality. Like, this is not even a question about the environment. It's a question about capitalism. It's a question about our economic model. And like, to me, it's just very puzzling to think that something like the environment, which essentially is the bedrock of infrastructure, and infrastructure is the bedrock of our economy. I don't know why that's, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand why.
It's like it's being overlooked.
It's being overlooked. I don't. It's
all
not,
in the name of capitalism.
It's not that complicated. And it's like, well, let's just say the climate thing is a hoax. It's a hoax. It's all a hoax. Like, what if we clean up the environment, and what if we I guess go to more cleaner energy, and what if we do all of that for nothing and it's all a hoax?
Yeah, for nothing.
What if we do all that for nothing? Like, think about that. Like, even if it's a hoax, it's not for nothing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Even if the climate is not changing, it's still a viable option. Like, you can, even if it's a hoax, that's the way we should go.
Yeah.
Because we've already seen the ramifications of environmental disasters.
And you talked about FEMA, right? You talked about relief efforts, right?
Yeah.
You kind of alluded to that. Okay, so this is courtesy of Colorado 9 News. And back in July, the governor of Montana, Steve Bullock, he declared a state of emergency in Montana. It was issued in July. It was issued July 24th. Now, sometime after that, the federal government denied the state's request for aid. Okay, 3 days later, the federal government reversed their decision and sent FEMA in to help. Okay, so the reason I bring that up, is because we just did a story about Hurricane Harvey, and we talked about FEMA, and what else we talked about was the Republicans' effort to take money away from FEMA, all to fund Donald Trump's wall. So how important are people to this administration? Even if you don't believe in climate change, right? Like you said, let's say it's a hoax. Let's say it's a hoax. You're gonna strip away funds from FEMA, the organization that goes in there and tries to help the situation untangle itself.
And these situations you're talking about, they're not going anywhere.
No, they're occurring more rapidly, aren't they?
See, yes. See, those are, they're occurring more rapidly, and that's the reason why it's important that they prioritize these things.
Right. Right.
But see, again, we go back full circle to capitalism.
Capitalism.
It's not just capitalism that kind of takes this stuff for granted. It's also capitalism that benefits from these things, because you know, there's already investors in Houston putting forth millions of dollars for rebuilding efforts in regards to businesses and acquisition of land. I think what's his name? The Dell Computers guy, was it Michael Dell? Is it Michael?
It sounds right.
It might be Michael Dell. Yep. He's already put up his money, his investment, and he's working with the local government officials. So there's going to be some people making money off this. This is why I think there's probably a lack of priority in regards to putting money forth to these things, because they know that there's going to be some sort of financial consequence for them and their buddies in the rebuilding efforts of these devastated areas. And that's already going down right now in Houston. Right now, the investors are already lining up.
I think it's ironic when we use science for predicting these disasters. You know, where it's gonna hit, how hard it's gonna hit. What is the level I mean, like, what's the level of damage that we should be expecting? We use science for all of these things, right? But for some reason, the science that involves climate change is a hoax. It's fake. Now, I've been here in South Carolina since 1990. Okay, that's when I came here from New York, 1990. Now, I can remember coming to the South and it being hot, especially in the summer. It was a lot hotter than it was in New York City. But I remember winters, and they were cold. They were still cold in the South. It may not have snowed every year, but it was still cold. Nowadays, 2017, even going back to last year, 2016, we don't really get winters too much anymore.
Nope, and if we do, it's like a few weeks. And even throughout those, maybe a couple, like maybe like a month or a half. And even within that month and a half or two, it's like not consistent.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not at all. Temperatures are getting hotter. Ice caps melting, right?
It's like some crazy, like, I forgot what the number is because I don't read about this a lot, but it's like some like crazy, like 13 billion tons of ice melted.
We are experiencing the hottest temperatures that the world has ever seen, right? This country has ever seen. Water levels are rising. This ain't no joke. This is not a hoax. There's science involved in this that can examine, can measure these results that we're having. All these conditions.
These fossil fuel companies.
Yeah, exactly.
They utilize science to discover oil deposits.
Yeah.
They utilize science to make sure they had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But the other science over there that's measuring climate change, that's a hoax. That's fake. That's why it's even more absurd and dangerous that Donald Trump has signaled the U.S.'s intention of removing itself, of withdrawing from the Paris Climate or the Paris Accord, the Paris Agreement. And in this agreement, countries have come together to discuss limiting greenhouse gas emissions, talking about green technology, lessening dependence on fossil fuels, all of these things for the good of the world. But Donald Trump, I know he wants the U.S. to get out of it.
Okay. See, again, another
businessman, right?
Businessman, but something else that connects him to the one of the very things that they thought Donald Trump was against, and that was the TPP. If we remember, as we talked about the TPP, what was one of the things that the TPP did? It actually loosened the responsibility that these corporations would have on polluting the environment. And what does Donald Trump do? Do the same thing.
Yeah, just in a different way.
Does it in a different way.
Yeah.
He did pretty much did the same thing, or doing the same thing, or like promoting the same thing that the TPP promoted.
Right. And it's all in the name of that dollar.
Again, because they see those environmental consequences as externalities.
Right.
They don't care. They just care about the profit. They say, screw our kids, screw your kids, and we'll just, like, you know, inhabit another planet maybe.
Hey, that's what I'm saying, man. We only got one planet. We only got one planet. So to think that, we don't really got to worry about this. Let's just keep making that money. Them greenbacks.
See, you knew if you used that word, I was not gonna be able to keep a straight face.
But that moolah, okay? All they're concerned about is that mighty green. That's all they're concerned about. So they don't want to hear anything about this green technology, sustainable energy, these solar panels, you know, lessening the dependence on fossil fuels and dirty oil. Nah, they don't want to hear all that, because all that's gonna do is make it harder to make some money.
And you know, like, you hear the same rhetoric that you heard when it came to coal. Remember, what was that on? Was that what's the CNN dude? He usually has a white beard. He's kind of older.
A wolf?
Yeah. Yep. See, you know. See,
yeah.
we know our CNN.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that him? That was when we were talking about. I guess he was talking. We were talking about war, and he was talking about contractors. Oh, he was
talking about Rand Paul. I think it was a discussion with Rand Paul.
And he's like, "Well, what about jobs?"
Yeah.
He wasn't looking at the consequences of war or the justifications of it. He was just looking at jobs.
Talking about these contractors.
They're making money. What about jobs? And I was like, you know what? I see the same kind of thing happening with fossil fuels.
Right.
And it's like, and
they're not concerned about long-term effects.
They're not concerned
that'll have on people and the planet.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like you're talking about jobs and presenting it as an argument that shows that you care about people and their well-being and their, I guess their ability to, provide for their families. That's what you're trying to like. That's the strings you're trying to tug on. Right. But how much do you really care about those people if you can't really guarantee a future in a world that's not polluted?
Right.
How can you really, claim that you care about those people or their children and their future children, their children? You know what I'm saying? Because you're only trying to appeal to their fear of not having. And of course, that's what capitalism does. It keeps people in this like fear of always not having, so they kind of keep us in this position where we are bribed with talking points like that, like the same people who think they deserve a job working in a coal mine. I was like, but why? I don't blame those people, but why are they forced into positions like that? Why are they forced into positions with thinking that working in a coal mine is beneficial for them and their family in the long run? Because we're placed in a system where they're exploited, so they're willing to accept anything, no different than somebody in the third world is willing to accept working for $2 an hour.
Right. All right. Let's get to Democratic politics. Democratic politics, okay? We're going to go to, Senator Kamala Harris, a Democrat from California, okay? She made some news recently. This was last week, Wednesday, where she became the first Democratic senator to, I guess she said that she would be up for the fight in supporting single-payer health care. Let's give her a round of applause, everybody. Come on. Mike, where you at? Mike. She said that she's going to co-sponsor legislation that Bernie Sanders intends to bring before Congress for single-payer universal health care. Come on, Mike. Come on now. Come on, man. Hey, man. All right, you know what? I got something for you.
I'm giving you giving you that like look that like Kermit the Frog does when he looks away. You know what I'm saying? That look when he does. You know what I'm talking about?
We might have to put that in the video when we cut it. But no, I got something for you. All right, there's a clip of Kamala Harris talking about it. Okay.
Now, why are you doing this to me, dog?
No, because you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. Everybody, you're gonna.
You see what he does to me, man?
Yeah, you're gonna like this. You're gonna like.
Well, here I'll break some news. I intend to co-sponsor the Medicaid for All bill, and because it's just the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. Somebody should tell my staff. You're right. You're right. And if you look at it, and again, this is part of our ongoing fight to make very clear, one, that this should not be a partisan issue. It shouldn't even be bipartisan.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Mike, you must be feeling a little bit differently now that you heard Kamala Harris's words. She said, this is just the right thing to do, people. Just the right thing to do. That's why she's for it now. I mean, I don't know what she was, I don't know what she was for before, but hey,
it's the right thing to do now.
Yes, here we are. This was I guess this was still August, late August, where she signaled her support for single payer and championed what Bernie Sanders brought to the table during his campaign 2016 for president. So she's on, man. She's the first senator to get on board, and she's gonna even co-sponsor the legislation. So again, man, are you ready to clap for Kamala Harris? Are you ready now?
Is there a way I can unclap? Can I unclap? Is there a way to unclap? You know what I'm saying? Can you reverse clap? Is that even possible?
You know, I thought it was funny. One thing that, you know, she made a joke, but I thought it was funny for a different kind of different. She said, "Somebody better tell my staff." Somebody better tell me. So this was impromptu.
Whoa! Was
impromptu.
that like a Freudian slip?
Yeah.
Was that a Freudian slip?
It's like, hold up, your staff ain't gonna be with you on this. They ain't gonna be with you on this. You don't say. You don't say.
Oh my gosh.
How many? See, we're here. See, we're seeing these type of things happen now. Elizabeth Warren is talking about, even though she was considered progressive beforehand, she's talking about single payer now. Kamala Harris is talking about this. Cory Booker talked about how marijuana shouldn't be a Schedule I drug anymore. We need to declassify that, right?
Yeah,
Talking
and you
about
see
all
Nancy
these
Pelosi,
progressive
Nancy Pelosi kind of coming out, and you know the Dems trying to do the great whatever,
a better New Deal,
a better New Deal.
So this is the better New Deal to inject some kind of progressivism into the Democratic. Okay.
But what is that better New Deal harken back to? What is that, FDR? Right?
I don't know.
But like. But anyway, it most wasn't capitalist anyway. But it to me, it's kind of like the right thing to do would have been, you know, to get your people in California on board.
Yeah.
The right thing to do would have been when you were, you know, what was she like?
She was Attorney General.
Yeah. The right thing to do would have been, you know, prosecute Steve Mnuchin for all the foreclosure bullcrap. That would have been the right thing to do. But to me, it seems like it's very beneficial for her to try to latch herself on to someone that is very popular and that is seen as a, I would say, progressive light.
Right.
He's not as to the left as I want him to be.
Right.
But I'm just saying
he still has that moniker. He can still wear that progressive badge.
So see, when you can't beat them, you don't join them completely.
Right.
You just kind of attach yourself to.
You kind of start sounding like them a little bit, just a little bit.
Or you what you do is you co-sign or you rhetorically co-sign on something that they champion, and that's all she's doing.
Right.
That's what it seems like, and with all the talk within the last few months of her possibly being Obama in a dress, the next Obama, but it just strikes me as very odd and very convenient for her to latch on to something, be a co-sponsor of something Bernie Sanders is an advocate of. That just seems very weird. Not only that, but
you have to take into account that a few months ago she kind of led on that this is the direction she was going in. Now she said that it was, I think she said something like in July, she said something about single payer, that she's kind of behind it, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So this was a much clearer statement saying that she's fully on board and she's willing to co-sponsor the legislation. That's a mighty change from where she was even just a couple months ago. But this sounds, it looks like weak sauce to me. It looks phony because when you talk about her, when you talk about all the House of Representatives and all the senators, the Democratic politicians, when you talk about where they were in 2015 and 2016, where were they? They were with Hillary Clinton. And you remember Hillary Clinton on this issue said things like, it would never come to pass, right? It will never come to pass. We can't get bogged down with this kind of conversation because this would never happen. We're talking about lives here. All we got to do is keep the ACA in place and expand it in some way that I have not detailed.
And you know what else is kind of like kind of disingenuous, as she kind of jumping behind or jumping with whatever Bernie Sanders on this. Folks, a lot of folks on that kind of are talking heads for the Democratic Party, or especially in the media. They're still talking about Bernie as I guess destroying the Democratic Party's credibility.
Yes.
So how can they have it both ways? How can they talk about Bernie Sanders destroying the credibility of the Democratic Party or damaging the Democratic Party and Hillary, while at the same time they're, I guess, I wouldn't call it their sure candidate, but someone who is probably, I guess, vying for the starting position.
Oh yeah.
But
she's a rising star.
She's a rising star. While this rising star is co-sponsoring a bill, so shouldn't is she damaging the Democrats too? Is she damaging the Democrats?
That's why you have to take into account where we were just last year. Bernie Sanders was a loon, wasn't he? He was crazy, right? He was somebody with pie in the sky ideals. Claire McCaskill talked about him being a socialist in a very negative way. Nancy Pelosi would talk about, well, we're not running on anything having to do with increasing taxes or universal health care. No, we're going to stay with the ACA. Okay, these are people, like I said, these Democratic politicians refused to get on board with Bernie Sanders, all so that they could support Hillary Clinton, establishment queen, the Hillary Clinton that wanted nothing to do with progressivism. What she wanted to do was attack Bernie Sanders because he spoke that way, because he spoke with a progressive tongue. So now all of a sudden, these Democrats have the courage of their convictions now. Now they, like Kamala Harris just said, just do the right thing. It's just the right thing to do. Where were you at last year? Where were you at last year? Because it would have been the right thing to do last year too. Because it was brought up. Bernie made it very public. So where were you last year? You were in Team Hillary. That's where you were. So now we should get behind you. And look. I know I've said before too that if the Democratic Party wanted to actually do some goodwill for the people, no matter their intentions, no matter what their intentions are, if they actually are signing up for this fight, we're gonna actually bring universal health care, single payer to our party platform. This is something that we're gonna be running on. This is what we're gonna be fighting for in Congress. I'm with you. I'm with you because I want to see that dream become realized. Oh yeah, definitely, I'm with you. But if you think for a second that I'm going to support the Democratic Party or these politicians that are Democrats, you must be smoking something real good, because I know exactly who you are. And who you are is not something that is representative of me or pretty much anybody like me. So, I mean, that's my statement. That's what I got to say about it.
Well, I mean, look.
All they do is pander. Look, I'll say this too. All they do is pander.
You know, this reminds me of the video we did where you call it what we call it, a panda bear.
Yes.
And then that reminds me of that song somebody did.
Panda.
Somebody remixed the song Panda into Pander, and it was talking about Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
I can't keep a straight face when you consider them panders,
because they're all panda bears, man.
They're master pandas.
Yes, and what they do is they dangle scraps in our faces. Okay, hey, and we're gonna finally come on board and champion single payer. Here, join us. Nah, man, forget y'all.
And one other thing I hate when they do is they kind of they use identity politics as a weapon, and they don't they use it, I would say, improperly. Because I remember Joy Reid pretty much, I don't know, maybe it was a week ago. Can't remember, it was a week ago. She pretty much was on air talking about how the Democrats shouldn't be talking about issues or actual policy. They should focus on identity politics. And I was like, and because she recognizes they don't have any substance other than that. Not to say that's not an issue, but when that's kind of your go-to in order to shame people to vote for you, then nobody can take you serious, and you are actually kind of dismantling work that activists do who are kind of addressing identity politics in a very constructive way. And so you have these so-called liberals and these Democrats who kind of want you to brush off, I guess, your want and your desire for a future for some like empty social issues.
Right. Like I said,
empty social issues.
They forget her language just because it's the right thing to do. Nah, don't believe that crap. This is selfish. All they are interested in are votes. They want to stay in power. They want to stay relevant. One of them wants to become the next president in 2020. Maybe that is Kamala Harris. It seems like she has those kind of feelings. Like she has some kind of I think she's just as bit as ambitious as one Hillary Clinton. I really do think that, because you're seeing her start to get way more coverage in the media. Like I said, she's a rising star. But don't let her dangle scraps in front of your face. Again, we can be with the initiative, because I'm behind the initiative. I want single payer for every man, woman, and child in this country. But again, am I gonna be blinded by their past? Am I gonna not see into their very transparent initiatives? They're only giving it to you because they want your votes. So hey, support them if you want to. I'll support them if they actually get on board with this. Hey, yeah, single payer, yeah, but F you. I'm not with you though. I'm not with you. I'm with the issue. I'm not with you.
And like, is it really going to be something? Like, are they just trying to get some seats back in 2018?
I mean, come on, man.
Are they just trying to get some seats back in 2018?
You know they are. Because what I say it's about, man, it's about power. It's about pandering for power, man. That's all it's about.
Pandering for power.
Pandering for power.
You put that on a t-shirt.
I'm saying, right? That's what they do, man. They've been doing this.
PFP. I'm stupid. Let me stop.
But yeah, man. Republicans, Democrats alike, they do it in different ways. They just do it in different ways.
And you know what pisses me off is that people will sit back and always look at the way the other side does it. And so that's kind of what keeps this kind of fighting going on. Yeah, the Republicans do it too, and they have their different way. The Democrats have their way, but they're both doing the same thing, and it's both empty. It's empty social issues. Not to say they don't matter, but they're empty when really some of the social issues they bring up don't kind of trying to, I guess, address them the way they do doesn't fix anything. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't with them clowns, man. I ain't with them clowns.
Oh, you put that on a shirt too, dog. That's t-shirt material.
I ain't with them clowns. What was it? Power.
Pandering for power.
Pandering for power.
I ain't with them clowns.
I ain't.
You said instead of.
Oh man, pandering for power. I ain't with those clowns. Yo,
that's bad. Yo, that has more attitude than Dim Exit, man. That seems a little more flamboyant than Dim Exit.
We have to have like an image like the Democratic Party.
Thank you, art with capital ART. Does that stand for something? Hillary and her cult gave America Trump. Well, Hillary begs to differ.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll get into that next. Well, a little later.
In a pipe dream. All of this could be used to reinforce his argument that I wasn't a true progressive. My team kept reminding me that we didn't want to alienate Bernie supporters. President Obama urged me to grit my teeth and lay off of Bernie as much as I could. I felt like I was in a straitjacket. Oh, man, it must have been hard for her. It must have been tough, man, to feel like you're in a straitjacket. to feel like you're in a straitjacket, like you can't hit back. You know, Bernie's just jabbing you to the gut. You know, it's like you can't even tighten your muscles up and try to defend these vicious attacks by Bernie Sanders.
So the whole Bernie bro thing, that was a straitjacket. The whole attacks against her are sexist.
Yeah.
Now they want to deal with sexism in a Democratic Party when Bernie comes along for some reason. That was a straitjacket?
that was a straitjacket. That was a straitjacket. She felt pretty much powerless. Like she couldn't alienate those progressives because she was going to need those progressives to win. And I don't know how this makes sense because, like you said, the Bernie bro, that whole attack. You remember when Bernie Sanders didn't let her interrupt him, and he was like, "Oh, I forgot."
Excuse me. He's like, "Let me finish. Wait, let me finish." That's what he said.
Yeah,
and that kind of came out as some sort
sexist,
of almost like a patriarchal move,
right? You remember Gloria Steinem, Madeleine Albright,
right? And even Streisand.
Yeah, Streisand. Yeah, she had a bunch of attacks on Bernie.
A bunch.
Like I said, we just talked about that when we were talking about single payer. Never come to pass. Like she hit Bernie. I mean, she was hitting.
Didn't want a contentious battle.
Yeah.
He's an overpromiser.
Right. Pie in the sky.
Pie in the sky.
Yeah.
He was nowhere to be found in the healthcare debate back in what was that? In the 90s. In the 90s.
Yeah, he was
nowhere to be found. We made a video on that.
Right.
Nowhere to be found. So that's her in a straitjacket.
Right.
So she's trying to present herself as the reserved, calm, upstanding, respectful one out of the two. And her being that way cost her the election. Her being that way cost her. Like, what? Like, really? Is she? What?
This is another excerpt. She said, "That's what it was like in policy debates with Bernie. We would promise a bold infrastructure investment plan or an ambitious new apprenticeship program for young people. And then Bernie would announce basically the same thing, but bigger. On issue after issue, it was like he kept promising 4-minute abs or even no minute abs. Magic abs."
So, like, she's comparing, like, Bernie's campaign to, like, that little shot ab thing.
Yeah. It's magic. Magic. Bernie was just gonna do things. He didn't offer any explanations of how they would get done. And what she's saying is that they would come after Hillary Clinton. So it wasn't that Hillary Clinton was leading from behind, as we all saw and witnessed. It was that Hillary Clinton was actually leading from the front, and Bernie Sanders was coming up from her rear and being like, "Oh man, that's a damn good idea from Hillary Clinton. You know what? I got a better one. Let me announce it after Hillary." What? When did that happen? That didn't happen. I didn't see it happen at all. You remember the Keystone Pipeline? How she wouldn't answer if she was against it or not? Bernie had no problem doing that. You remember doing something about tuition-free public colleges and universities?
So basically,
Bernie Sanders clearly stated his agenda. It took Hillary until Bernie was out to try to negotiate with him.
So her own silence kind of created that Bernie magicianry. Well, you know what else is magic? Man, like that server she had in New York. That was a magic server. That couldn't possibly have anything to do with it. Or maybe her magical position on the TPP.
Oh man.
Or maybe her magical private and public positions.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. Come on. Man.
Maybe her her magical efforts to push fracking across the globe as Secretary of State. That was magical.
It was magical, man.
That was Disney magical.
Yeah.
There was a lot of magical things she did.
This was another excerpt. I don't have this on the image, but she said, when I finally challenged Bernie during a debate to name a single time I changed a position or a vote because of a financial contribution, he couldn't come up with anything. Nonetheless, his attacks caused lasting damage, making it harder to unify progressives in the general election and paving the way for Trump's crooked Hillary campaign. Now, the first part of that, I actually agree with her. Because I remember that debate when she challenged him, and I don't think Bernie was expecting that, because as anybody that paid attention and watched the debates, Bernie Sanders would throw out corruption. he would throw out money in politics, but never did he attach it specifically to Hillary Clinton. He never like went, bam, this is who it is right here. This is who it is. It affects her right here. She's a corrupt politician. No, he never made that clear case. We all knew it. We all knew it, of course, because if you're doing the research behind the scenes, we know who's paying her. We know what her super PACs were. But he never, in the debates, made that clear correlation between corruption and Hillary Clinton. And when she challenged him, just like she said she did, he was like, "Oh no, I'm not." He kind of was like, "I'm not besmirching your name and blah blah blah." Blah.
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh, come on, man." So no, she's right about that.
So if anybody was in a straitjacket,
yeah,
it was Bernie Sanders,
because he didn't want to. He never even talked about the Clinton Foundation. I mean, like, there was so many her time in the State Department. He didn't talk about a whole host of issues that were flaws, major flaws. He even
said he didn't want to go negative, and he was being pushed to, and he said, "No, I'm not going to." But like the biggest thing that kind of sticks out to me about all of this, not just her book, but because you can't. Again, I don't even want to get tunnel vision on Hillary Clinton, because let's not act like that's not a talking point that's been constantly put forth by her supporters and through the media, that like it's Bernie Sanders' fault that she lost. Now, how, like, I'm just trying to figure out why were different rules applied to this or that primary. I'm trying to figure out why different rules were applied. Did not Barack Obama? I can easily say Barack Obama damaged her. Can I say that? Wasn't Barack Obama running against Hillary Clinton in the primary, and he won? He won. So wouldn't winning damage her more than?
Hold on, I got another quote for you. Then I got another quote for you.
All right. Okay.
It kind of goes to what you're saying.
Okay.
She says in the book, in the book, everybody, she says, quote, "That's not a smear. That's what he says. He didn't get into the race to make sure a Democrat won the White House. He got in to disrupt the Democratic Party." So she's talking about how he is not a Democrat. All he was there for was to disrupt the Democratic Party, Bernie Sanders.
Okay. You know what? Let's just say that is true. But if
why
you
campaign with her then?
Exactly. If you disrupt something by highlighting truths, whose fault is that?
Exactly.
So if you disrupt if something is disrupted because there were truths and realities highlighted, whose fault is that? And like I said,
it would be irresponsible for him not to attack her.
Again, why? I just want to ask anyone who just is kind of presenting that talking point, especially if you are a staunch and unconditional Hillary supporter and you feel that's where your allegiance lies. Like, how come different rules apply to this particular primary, as if Hillary Clinton is not supposed to have a primary opponent like any other candidate? And I guess
you're supposed to walk up in there, man.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand this. What is he supposed?
Red carpet.
What do you want him to do? Do you just expect him to just kind of like, walk through it and just like, whistle and just like do nothing? Like, what are you expecting? Like, okay, she lost. Okay.
Yeah.
What other two Democrats lost? Was it Kerry in 2004? Was that Kerry? Yeah. Okay, who ran against him? It was like Edwards, Dean, and Kucinich. Okay.
Did you hear this argument?
I gotta get my lips ready, dog. All right. Did anybody blame them for Kerry's loss?
I don't remember that.
Did anybody blame them for Kerry's loss?
I don't remember that narrative.
What about, let's see, Al Gore? What about Al Gore? Who ran? Remember who ran against Al Gore?
Lieberman?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anybody blame Lieberman? Did anybody blame Lieberman? No. I remember people blaming the Green Party.
I remember people blaming how boring Al Gore was.
Yeah, I remember them blaming Florida. Yeah, the irregularities that were in Florida. I remember them blaming that. I don't remember them blaming Lieberman.
Exactly.
So again, why was this whole new caveat thrown into the mix? Like, you can't battle, you can't go to war with weapons.
You got to go to war with pillows, cotton balls,
I mean,
Q-tips.
I don't understand that. That was never
Ralph Nader. Yeah,
Ralph Nader. Yeah, of course. But yeah, that was never a point. That was never like like Democratic politicians got together and they was like,
look at that.
They was like, hold on, man. So they never got together and was like, well, look, okay, we're all here to ensure that a Democratic politician gets into the White House. So these things are off limits. Okay, we don't want to hit each other here. We're only going to talk about this, and this. No, that's never been the case. That's never been the case because they're not a monolith. Like, every Democratic politician is not the same. Bernie Sanders, who I consider to be a Democrat, had a progressive flavor. Hillary Clinton absolutely did not. So of course, the way they spoke, the things that they supported were going to be very different. So of course they're going to go at each other and say, well, no, my idea is better. No, my idea is better. But the thing about Hillary Clinton is that she had self-inflicted flaws about her. Why would you expect somebody to not capitalize on those flaws? Because they too are running in the Democratic Party?
Well, number one, you messed up in saying that her flaws are self-inflicted. You messed up by saying that.
So what I should have said was that they were Bernie-inflicted.
Burn-afflicted.
Burn-afflicted.
Yes.
Burn-afflicted flaws.
Yes, burn-afflicted. If it wasn't for him, those flaws wouldn't have been made known.
So Bernie set up her super PACs. He set up the Hillary Victory Fund for her.
Right.
He made her. He made her get rid of a Gaddafi in Libya.
Made her self-fracking.
Yeah, self-fracking. He made her take money from private prisons. He did that. He made her support mandatory minimums back in the 90s. He
made her say, bring them to heel when talking about super predators.
Super predators. He made her defend the death penalty. He made her. When she was Secretary of State. He made her kill the fight for higher wages in Haiti.
Bernie Sanders also made her well, I wouldn't say contradict, but flip-flop on same-sex marriage.
Oh gosh,
made her do that. That was all him. That was all him. And talking about I guess people that were kind of she feels are
made her write the TPP.
Yeah. Called her the golden standard.
He made her write the
gold.
TPP.
Made her write the TPP
and said
the gold standard.
Yes.
And then
sell it all across the globe.
One thing, I guess, because she's talking about people that Bernie Sanders, I guess I would say, contributed to, I guess, disaffecting people that would have voted for her. That's what she's saying. There was people who were disaffected and would have voted for her that didn't because of Bernie Sanders. But, like, I'm just wondering, like, I think there was a large percentage of people that voted for John McCain. If I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I think there's a large percentage of Hillary Clinton supporters that voted for John McCain when he ran against Obama. Again, where is the outrage of that? Did Hillary Clinton?
And have we ever seen this on the Republican side either?
Yeah. Did Hillary Clinton? What did Hillary Clinton say? Bernie did is to destabilize the Democratic Party.
Yeah, he was there to disrupt the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
not to make sure a Democrat won.
Yeah, so was she there to disrupt? I guess Obama.
Right.
Was she there to disrupt the Democratic Party? When you look at the exit polls and how many people defected towards McCain.
Right. I think the sticking point with her and her supporters are that Bernie Sanders supporters made the clear link between corruption and Hillary Clinton. See, Bernie Sanders threw out the idea of how corruption plays a part in our politics and how money in politics plays a part in our politics. Again, he wasn't as forceful as, say, we were, as were all of his supporters, in clearly making that case that Hillary Clinton is a no good damn corrupt politician. He didn't make the case like we could, because he didn't want to hit her that hard. Because again, if she feels like she was in a straitjacket, I can imagine he felt the same way, because both of them did not want to alienate the other side. So we saw that in both. Well, I don't know. I saw that in Bernie's case. To say that Hillary Clinton looked like she was in a straitjacket. What did you have to attack Bernie Sanders with that you kept in the chamber? Like, you didn't use that bullet. What did you have that you never fired off? What did she have? You remember when she blamed gun violence in New York on Vermont?
Yeah. That's straitjacket. Now, if that's straitjacket, I don't know what her out of a straitjacket is. And
that's what I'm saying.
And if she was in a straitjacket, then Bernie was like in some sort of CIA holding cell.
That's what I'm saying, man. All this looks like Hillary Clinton fails once again to have any sense of introspection. She does not understand that the things that prevented her from capturing the presidency were self-inflicted. Like, she had flaws of her own that had nothing to do with Bernie Sanders one bit at all. It was her. Hillary, you suck, man. Like, come on, man. You got to get that through your head. You suck.
Yeah, this is like all of these comments they're not excerpts. They're excerpts. Yeah. Because they're just so sweet. They're excerpts. We have a question.
And why would she be doing that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. To me, like, okay, it's one thing. It's one thing to just kind of lose really big to Donald Trump and be frustrated and vocalize that in public, in frustration to yourself or in public, and be like, oh, that Bernie, and just, but to actually write it and have it solidified in a book, that says something to me. But probably one thing is that why is she worried about Bernie Sanders?
Right.
It just seems as if, like, her or the individuals who were most likely advising her as she was writing this book, seems like they're scared of something. Yeah. Maybe they're scared that Bernie might run again.
See, that's what I'm saying. See, I see it in three ways. One, she lacks introspection. She has no idea that she's at fault for losing the race, for losing the presidency. Two, she wants to stay relevant because her ambition has not gone anywhere. She might run again. And three, let's smush and finally kill Bernie Sanders earlier than before, because they ain't take him seriously before, right? But then he galvanized this movement and everybody was in his corner, and it was really hard to fight against that, especially for somebody in a straitjacket.
Yeah, I know that is laughable, and not only does it seem like if she's not running, she's definitely doing her own operative work.
Oh yeah,
and if she's not doing her own operative work for the Democratic Party, what is she trying to set herself up to run again? So it could be that too. So who knows? We do have a question by Ian James Chapman. It says, why are Democratic candidates such as Jesse Jackson, Dennis Kucinich, and Bernie Sanders considered insurgent candidates by their own party? That the question, like, the answer is in the question.
Yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory
because they all I think they all kind of favor kind of a workers union type economic model. They're always championing like unions.
They go way farther than the Democratic Party as a unit is prepared to go.
Which since the 80s has been severely diminished.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like just union activity has been severely diminished since the 80s. So that's why they're considered insurgents, because
they don't fall in line.
They don't fall in line, and they kind of offer a counter narrative that exposes the Democrats for who they really are. That's why they're considered.
The Democratic Party as a group pretty much says, no, we can't go that far. No, no, we can't go that far. And the insurgent candidates you're talking about are saying, no, hold on, no. There's a way. There is a way. We can get that done. We can improve the lives and conditions of the many that are living here in the United States. We can do that. And so what are they? They're kind of cast out of the Democratic Party. And then once they don't win, once they don't get the nomination, they're like, well, come on here, buddy. Come on, help me win now. Come on now. You know we're on the same side. But see, would Hillary Clinton have had this kind of perspective in this book had she won? Of course not.
Nah.
Of course not. She wouldn't have begrudged Bernie Sanders and be like, you're not a Democrat, Bernie Sanders. All you're here to do is disrupt the Democratic Party. She'd be like, you know what? You campaign with me. You big up to me. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, I like
that. They're basically here to do exactly what their political counterparts are here to do, and that's protect capitalism. That's what they're here to do, and I love it.
The corruption.
Protect corruption and protect capitalism. And until people, what's so interesting? Not people on the who are on the side of Democrats. Actually, everyone, even the other side. The other side, for some reason, sees them as socialist, communist, like they're actually progressive. I'm just like why are y'all gassing them up? Like, why are you gassing Democrats up? So it's not only the people who are on the side of Democrats that have like kind of a distorted view of their party. It's actually the other side too. And I think both sides contribute to almost, I would say, the Democrats. I wouldn't say success, because it's not success now, but they have contributed to the success of the Democratic Party, or I would say propping up the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party is in no way communist, in no way socialist, in no way progressive. So you know what I'm saying? So it's almost like both the sides that advocate for Democrats unconditionally have a distorted view, and their political counterparts have a distorted view. Actually, honestly, I don't think their political counterparts believe in that distorted view. That's just rhetoric to scare people. But unfortunately, their base believes in that rhetoric. So you constantly have people who are staunch Republicans or libertarians, and for that matter, always talk about communism and socialism in regard to Democrats. I'm like, who are they talking about? But anyway.
See, but that's why I say, I'm gonna say it again. I don't care about politicians. Like, I don't care about politicians. Again, if there's a candidate running that's running on the right kind of platform, that is not running with big money in their bank account, with super PACs and these connections that are going to be problematic, and we know they're going to be problematic because they're going to come calling. If they're not doing that, if they're running the right way, then yeah, sure, get behind them and make sure they get in office. Have no problem with that. But what we know is that there's not going to be enough of them to actually make any type of change. What we have to do as people is actually hold all of these politicians, the ones that are corrupt and the ones that aren't, accountable, so that they actually do represent us, because we have the power to do that. The only way we can do that is to actually unite as one and actually force them to do it. Because no matter who you are, if you're a progressive, if you're conservative, if you're a centrist, if you're a libertarian, whatever you are, the common opinion about Congress is that they are doing shit for the people that live here. Everybody believes that. Their approval ratings are laughable. Their approval ratings are laughable. So no matter who you are, no matter what your type of ideology is, everybody agrees that politicians are in it for themselves. They're not doing right by the people. So what if we all kind of banded together and say, you know what, let's come together and let's create some kind of oversight board and make sure that they actually do represent us?
Because right now, I guess the only way people have to kind of attempt to check, you know, their officials is to just yell and scream, and write and call in,
and that's not effective.
And like Art is just killing the game right now. Art is just killing the boards. He says Hillary was a real puppet, no genuine emotions, feelings, or understanding at all, empty vessel. And essentially, again, that's not to get tunnel vision on Hillary Clinton. That's kind of the profile of most politicians. That's what becoming a politician does to you. You kind of you get so wrapped up in the creating an image for yourself all the time. It's almost like you're playing a role. It's almost like you're acting. So it's going to come off like that. And along with that, like all you're doing is approving messages that kind of don't really get down to the meat of any point, whatever they're messages for you and promotion of yourself and your campaign, or trying to put out messages against your opponent. Everything is very superficial. Everything is. So that's
they can't be real. Like you're saying, it's superficial by design. It's superficial by design because they cannot be real. They can't be authentic because being authentic would actually have them representing us. But they can't do that because of the strings that are controlling.
And unfortunately, and this is the unfortunate part of it, a lot of the voter base actually appeals to probably most of the voter base. Most of the voter base is okay with making decisions off of very superficial ads they see on television. They're fine with making decisions and developing their perspective on the world by just looking at memes.
Well, it's easier that way.
It's easier that way. So
and a lot of people don't have the time to
and just like Neil deGrasse Tyson said, he said he doesn't want to be a politician because the problem is not just Congress. The problem is not policy per se. The problem is not having a hard time putting forth legislation that can actually pass. The hardest time is educating the electorate.
Right. The problem is the people.
The problem is the people. And until we, again, and actually that brings us full circle back to what we almost started out with, and that's the deep state apparatus, which doesn't mean shit. Meaning, like, talking about that doesn't mean shit if the lowest common denominator doesn't have their head on straight. Introducing them to that rabbit hole doesn't mean anything to people who still kind of engage in these low-level human interactions and engage very superficially in their politics and essentially, like, you know, I guess develop their narrow mindset based on very short snippets of information and very shallow information with shallow reference points, and using that as a way to develop their political identity. And until we fix that, talking about the deep state apparatus doesn't mean a damn thing.
We talk about it every time in the aftermath of elections, especially presidential elections. How many people did not vote? Like, to your point, the hardest part about being a politician would be educating the electorate, right?
Right.
So with there being so many people that choose not to be a part of the political process, how do you get them involved? That is the burning question. That's the question that has yet to be figured out. How do you get them involved? It's easy to do it, or let me say, it's easier to do it when there's a candidate that has some kind of cachet to them, some kind of draw, some kind of pull, right? We saw that with Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Because people were drawn to him because they liked what he was saying. If he wasn't speaking the truth, then it would have been just about Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders would have made no headway whatsoever. But when there is absence of that political candidate, and that happens in the 3 years between, presidential elections, how do you galvanize people? How do you educate people? How do you get them involved?
Well,
that's going to be the challenge.
According to Bacon Mage, which that's an ill name. I hope that's not your actual government name, but that's an ill name, man. It says the problem with Neil's argument is that people will never get educated when Congress keeps lowering the bar for graduates. That's not a problem. That's not a problem with his argument. It actually validates his argument like 100%, because you are like putting the onus on Congress. That's what you're doing. You're acting as if people don't have a mind of their own. Like, our position is we have to acknowledge the fact that there are people are where they want to be. So we can't always put the onus on people being brainwashed on the brainwashers, or people who are being manipulated on the manipulators all the time. There are plenty of people out there. You on social media, Bacon. You know what I'm talking about. You see what people eat up every day, and that's voluntarily. So if you saying Congress keeps lowering the bar for graduates, nobody's forced into stupidity. No one is forced into stupidity. Nobody's forced into ignorance. It's 2017. If you are still ignorant and in a bubble and in an information bubble in the information age, you actually want to be there. And it is my contention that there are people who want to be there. You see what I'm saying, Bacon? Like I said, it's on us. Yeah. Yes. If you've been on social media and you see it yourself, regardless of what your positions are, I don't know, but you see it yourself, where people are okay with being dumbed down. Because like I said, people tend to do what is easier to them. And so until people make the decision to want to be educated, then you can't constantly blame Congress. Because I think the whole leader and follower concept tends to be an illusion. You think these are actually followers when all they're doing is they're actually attaching themselves to people that think like them already.
Yeah, that's where I was going, because it's not even about it's deeper than just not educating yourself. A lot of people live in echo chambers. So the information they're getting just kind of ratifies their own ideology, their own thought process
that they already have. So it's hard. That's what I'm saying. The challenge is to get people out of those bubbles takes a willingness from them. It takes some self-determination, and it's just like, that's hard to do. Nobody's saying that there are not influences out there. It's like, for instance, like I changed my diet, and I pretty much I'm pretty much on my own. And I could not blame the external world for making it hard for me. I already knew that's what was going to, what happened. And that's what I was going to go through. So there's constant misinformation and constant re-education that I had to go through because I made that decision. So I had to take myself out of a dietary box, you know what I'm saying? For my own benefit, something for a diet that served me and my needs. So no matter what the majority is doing, and no matter what the corporations and the companies are pushing and whatever else, or whatever these kind of corporate dietitians push, I had to make decisions for myself, and I wasn't able to go beyond that until I did. He said, what I'm saying though, Bacon responded, he says, what I'm saying though is that we need people in Congress who are actually trying to revamp our education system. I don't think, for instance, anyone should be able to graduate without a basic course. Yes, and the problem is capitalism. The problem, again, that's an externality. Everything links back to capitalism. Like, the reason why, college costs so much is not because professors are getting paid too much. It's because of capitalism. The reason why college costs so much is because they're more concerned with revenue generation. That's why it's hard for professors, because they're always encouraged to do research because that makes money. It all boils down to capitalism, in my opinion, even in regards to our education system.
All right, so All right, we've been going a long time. It's been 2.5 hours. We're gonna wrap this thing up. What I want to do is give a shout out to our newest Patreon patrons. I guess that's the way you say it. Our patrons on Patreon who have signed up to support us, and we really do thank you. But our newest patrons are Jeremy Popoliski. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. Jamie Miller, Leanne Ramirez, and Chai Sexton. So again, a shout out goes to all 4 of you for going on Patreon and helping us out. We have a lot of things to do. This stream could be a whole lot better. We don't want to have the same problems that we've been having. We think we figured something out, but then in a couple shows later, we're getting a different problem, this and that. So there's some things that we do need to improve, and of course we need finances to do that. So if anybody believes in what we do and wants to improve the quality, wants to see the audience grow, please help out. You can go to patreon.com/LTMB. If you cannot help, that's totally fine as well. Please just share our material, the post that we put out there on YouTube or on Facebook, on Twitter. Just share it so that we can get more coverage, more exposure, and we can, kind of expand this community environment that we're developing here.
True that. I want to thank everybody in the chat, everyone pretty much, for their ability to stimulate conversation and contribute to this conversation, contribute to our conversation between us two. So it allows us to explore our own thoughts, maybe some things we weren't thinking about in the moment. So yeah, we really appreciate all the comments are pretty insightful and spot on, almost all of them pretty much.
Glad you're here, Red in Economics. I saw she got in here late, but I'm glad you're here. But yeah, that's all we got for today.
Yeah.
Next time will be in a couple days on Thursday the 7th, same time, 7 p.m. And I think we're gonna do some tests to make sure we got all this right, because I'm not sure why YouTube was messing up at the beginning of the stream now, but hopefully we'll get all of that squared away and we won't have any more problems going forward. But again, thank you for everybody that's been here and was watching the stream and who commented. We didn't have the call-in feature up today because, like I said, that was kind of
the stream was shaky.
Yeah, it was making the stream kind of shaky, so we got to kind of get that figured out. But hopefully on Thursday we'll get that situated so that anybody that wants to call can call, share their comment, give a question, or ask a question, and we can conversate on it. But again, thank you again for being here. This is Let the Madness Begin. Peace out.
Peace out, y'all.